Portugal has just announced the most dramatic overhaul of its immigration policy in decades. On June 23, 2025, the Portuguese government approved sweeping changes that will fundamentally alter the path to citizenship for millions of foreign residents living in the country. The headline change? Portugal is doubling the residency requirement for citizenship from 5 years to 10 years for most foreign nationals. This represents a complete reversal from Portugal's previously liberal immigration policies and signals a new era of what officials call a moderate approach to immigration. To understand why this is so significant, we need to look at the numbers. Portugal has experienced unprecedented demographic change in recent years. The foreign population has exploded from approximately 400,000 people in 2017 to over 1.6 million by 2024. That's nearly a four-fold increase in just 7 years. Foreign residents now represent about 15% of Portugal's total population, a transformation that officials describe as the largest demographic shift in modern Portuguese history. So what exactly are these new rules? The centerpiece is a two-tiered system based on where you're from. Citizens from Portuguese-speaking countries, that's Brazil, Angola, Cape Verde, Guinea-Bissau, Equatorial Guinea, Mozambique, São Tomé and Príncipe, and Timor-Leste, will need to wait 7 years before they can apply for citizenship. Everyone else faces the full 10-year requirement. Even for Portuguese-speaking countries, this represents a 40% increase from the current 5-year rule. The government says this distinction reflects Portugal's historical and cultural ties to these nations, but it's still a significant tightening of requirements. There's also an important clarification about when this residency clock starts ticking. Under the new law, the 7 or 10-year period begins from the date your residence permit is actually issued, not from when you applied for it. This might seem like a technical detail, but it could add months or even years to the total time required. But the changes go far beyond just waiting longer. Portugal is introducing comprehensive integration requirements that didn't exist before. All citizenship applicants must now demonstrate A2-level Portuguese language proficiency. There are some exemptions. People over 60, those with mental disabilities or illiteracy, seriously ill or handicapped applicants, and those who already have higher-level Portuguese certificates are exempt. But for most people, you'll need to prove you can speak Portuguese. That's not all. There's now a mandatory civic knowledge examination. This isn't just about language. You'll need to demonstrate understanding of Portuguese culture, history, fundamental rights and duties in the Portuguese Republic, and democratic values and constitutional principles. Think of it like a citizenship test that many other countries already require. Every applicant must also sign what's called a Declaration of Democratic Commitment, a formal pledge that you embrace Portugal's constitutional values and democratic rule of law. The government is clearly emphasizing that they want new citizens who genuinely understand and support Portuguese democratic institutions. One of the most significant changes affects children. Under the new rules, children born in Portugal to foreign parents will only automatically receive Portuguese nationality if both parents have maintained legal residence for at least 3 years. Parents must actively apply for their child's nationality, rather than it being granted automatically. This moves away from what's called the jus soli, or right of the soil principle that many countries follow. Family reunification is also getting stricter. Primary immigrants must have been legally residing in Portugal for at least 2 years before they can bring family members to the country. The scope of who qualifies as eligible family members has been narrowed, focusing primarily on minor children, while spouses or partners may need separate legalization processes. The government is also tightening security measures significantly. Under the new system, anyone with any effective prison sentence on their record will be excluded from citizenship eligibility. Previously, only those with sentences longer than 3 years were disqualified. Perhaps most dramatically, the new legislation introduces provisions for revoking Portuguese nationality from naturalized citizens who are convicted of serious crimes. Citizens who receive effective prison sentences of 5 years or more for serious offenses may lose their Portuguese nationality entirely. This represents a major expansion of the government's power to strip citizenship after naturalization. To enforce these new rules, Portugal is establishing a new National Foreigners and Borders Unit within the Public Security Police. This represents a more centralized and presumably stricter approach to immigration enforcement. So why is Portugal making these dramatic changes? Minister Antonio Leitão Amaro has been very direct about the government's reasoning. He's criticized what he calls the previous government's open-door immigration policy, stating bluntly that the era of leniency in immigration in Portugal is over. The government argues that the previous socialist administration allowed immigration to spiral out of control. The numbers seem to support their concern about capacity. The government reports that since eliminating something called the expression of interest system in June 2024, new residence permit applications have fallen by 59%. This system previously allowed undocumented migrants to regularize their status by proving 1 year of employment and Social Security contributions. Minister Leitão Amaro has emphasized that the changes aim to ensure nationality is granted based on a genuine sense of belonging and integration into the national community. The government argues that longer residency periods, combined with language and civic testing requirements, will better ensure that new citizens are truly integrated into Portuguese society. There's also the practical issue of public services. With foreign residents representing 15% of the population, officials argue that the country's infrastructure and services simply cannot adequately support continued rapid immigration growth. The new requirements are designed to slow the pace of new citizenship grants while ensuring better integration of those who do qualify. Portugal's shift also aligns with broader European trends toward stricter immigration policies. The government describes its approach as a moderate path between what Leitão Amaro calls wide open doors and completely closed borders. What does this mean for people already in Portugal or considering moving there? The impact will be significant and varied. Current golden visa holders, wealthy investors who've been attracted to Portugal's investment residency program, will need to completely recalibrate their citizenship timeline expectations. The path from investment to citizenship has been extended by 5 years for most applicants. Citizens from Portuguese-speaking countries face additional restrictions beyond just the longer wait time. They will no longer be able to apply for residence permits after entering on tourist visas and must obtain specific consular visas before arriving in Portugal for residency purposes. This represents a significant tightening of what were previously more flexible entry procedures. For those already residing in Portugal, there's a complex transition period. Applications submitted before the law takes effect will be processed under the previous rules, creating a two-track system for citizenship processing. Current permanent residents can maintain that status after 5 years, but the path to full citizenship will be significantly longer. The new nationality law changes were approved by the Portuguese Council of Ministers on June 23, 2025, but the legislation must still go through parliamentary debate and voting. Implementation is expected to begin upon publication in the Official Gazette, though the exact timeline remains uncertain as the bill moves through the Assembly of the Republic. Minister Leitão Amaro has emphasized that these reforms align with guidelines already included in the government's program, suggesting they represent planned policy rather than reactive measures to a crisis. Portugal's decision to double its citizenship residency requirement represents one of the most significant immigration policy reversals in recent European history. The changes transform Portugal from having one of Europe's most liberal citizenship pathways to implementing some of the continent's strictest requirements. While the government argues these measures are necessary to ensure genuine integration and manage demographic change, they will undoubtedly reshape Portugal's appeal as a destination for international residents and investors. The success of these reforms in achieving their stated goals of promoting integration while managing immigration flows will likely influence similar policy discussions across Europe. For the millions of foreign residents already in Portugal and those considering relocation, these changes represent a fundamental shift in the country's approach to immigration and citizenship. The Portugal that attracted so many international residents with its relatively easy path to European citizenship is now joining the ranks of countries that require much longer commitments and more comprehensive integration before granting full membership in the national community. If you want to reduce your taxes to single digits, make your assets impossible for anyone to touch, and gain more freedom with second citizenships, get in touch with Liberty Mundo and book a consultation call. We will help you develop a complete blueprint to organize your life to safeguard your wealth and your freedom. Follow the link in the description for more details. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.